Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar, Bite-Sized Compliance Strategies, How Mars Scaled Global Quality. So this event, which is brought to you by Food Safety Magazine, is sponsored by ETQ. I'm Adrienne Blum, Editorial Director of Food Safety Magazine, and I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. So thanks for joining us. So today's presenters are Glenn Frasier, Director of Product Management at ETQ, and Jana Sampson, Corporate R&D Quality Systems Manager at Mars. I'll rejoin the presenters at the end to answer your questions that come in throughout the webinar, so don't forget to submit those in the Q&A and chat section of the webinar console. Today's event is also being recorded and it'll be archived on food-safety.com so you can share this presentation with your colleagues. And with that, I'm excited to turn it over to Glenn and Jana.
Thank you. It's an honor to be joined by Jana. Briefly, I've got a couple of polling questions for you to talk about the cost and complexity of global regulations. So if you could take just a moment to start filling those out. Got just 4 of them for you. Right. So the first one is the average number of new federal regulations in the US issued each and every business day. All right. Our correct answer is actually 8 per day. All right. Now, next, globally, same question. Globally per day, what's the average number of regulatory changes? A couple of folks changed their answers. We did have the majority with the right one. It's actually 220 each and every day. All right. Next, what percentage of global organizations struggle with harmonizing their compliance requirements, their systems, across multiple markets? All right, gaining on it. The correct answer is actually 78% of global organizations struggle with harmonizing. And last one. What do you suppose the average annual compliance cost in the US, this is a US number, is per employee? All right. Our correct answer is actually just over $10,000 per US employee. Significant number, especially when you think of smaller organizations where it starts to consume a larger portion of the organization's payroll. So thank you for participating in that. Brief summary of it: compliance is challenging, can also be very expensive. And of course, it's a challenge for everyone, but as the organization grows, so do the challenges. What we'll talk about today is just that, challenges for global compliance and quality, how Mars has scaled global quality. Jana will take us through that. I'll provide a brief summary, and then we'll go back for some additional question and answer from you. Right? So particularly at scale, compliance and quality get challenging. I'm sure a lot of these are familiar. Complex regulatory landscape, disparate processes, very often siloed information, inconsistencies. What they all add up to is making reporting and analysis difficult, challenges in being compliant, and often an organizational resistance to change. Here at ETQ, We believe that a robust quality management system can help with all of that. And in fact, return some tremendous returns on investment to our customers. We've had a number of use case studies over the years that have clearly demonstrated how an automated quality management system can reduce compliance risk, increase quality, and reduce challenges with delivering to your customers. I'm going to turn it over to Jana to tell us how Mars has scaled their quality. Jana.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Glenn. Thank you for having me here. So first of all, I would like to have a short introduction of myself, and I'm really excited to be here. My role is Corporate Quality Systems Manager at Mars Incorporated. I've been with Mars for 17 years, and this role, I have been in this role for about 3 years. And what this role really encompasses is I have got a team of very great professionals, and we cover together processes across end-to-end traceability, testing and conformance, and hold and release, core quality and food safety management, supplier quality management, and quality risk management. And this is across global Mars and across all our segments. So this is truly corporate capability. A little bit about my academical background. I have a Master of Food Chemistry and Technology from University of Chemical Technology from Prague. I'm originally from the Czech Republic, so that's where I studied. And just a little bit about myself and my favorite products. So my favorite people on the screen, that's my family, my son who is 6 and my daughter is 8, and my husband. And our favorite sauce is Dolmio pasta sauce, so a little bit of our product. Favorite ice cream is Galaxy, which is amazing. In the US, it's under name Galaxy, under name Duff. My favorite US product under Mars is Munch, and we don't have it in the UK, and I always have Munch bar when I go in the US. It's fantastic. And if you haven't tried Hotel Chocolat chocolates, which are now in the US as well, they are fantastic as well. And before I move to talking about Mars a little bit, I will also say I don't have pets, so I didn't actually put our pet food on the screen. But I thought I would mention that one brand which is really kind of recently made me very proud of Mars is Shiba and their work with sustaining the marine ecosystem. And basically, if you are interested, there is Reef Builders program on Amazon Prime, and it's really interesting about the sustainability work which is being done. So just to recommend, it's fantastic. So a little bit about Mars. At Mars, we believe that the world we want tomorrow starts with how we do business today. And basically, to reach our goal and our bold ambitions, our every decision is done against our 5 principles. You can see the 5 principles on the screen. They are quality, responsibility, mutuality, efficiency, and freedom. And they are really our guiding philosophy for many years. So you can see that quality is our first principle, and it's everyone's responsibility, everyone's job. So I'm here to talk about quality as well. So let's focus on that. Who we are at Mars and what we do. We have got very diverse and expanding portfolio of products and services. We delight millions of people globally, but also we serve and support more than half of the world's pets, which I think it's incredible. This is through nutrition, diagnostics, health monitoring, DNA testing, and veterinary care. If I want to talk a little bit more about our brands and about our segments, it's, often when I say Mars, people say, oh, the candy company, but Mars is more than that. And you can see that on the screen. In fact, our biggest segment is pet care, which you can see is a combination of pet food and veterinary services. It is 57% of our total sales and share of total sales. And on the screen, you can see some of the billion-dollar brands we have got at Mars Pet Care. So like Royal Canin, Pedigree, Shiba, Caesar, Whiskas, there are quite few. Our second biggest, it's Mars Snacking. It's 39% of our total sales. And some of the well-known brands are M&M's, Snickers, Skittles, Duff, Twix, and Extra. And in terms of our third small but mighty segment is food and nutrition, and that's about 4%. So moving on to a little bit more about Mars. Mars has been established in 1911 by Frank Mars, and since then it has grown significantly. We are still private and family-owned company, which is absolutely incredible. Our annual approximate net sales are 55 billion, and we have got more than 600 sites and 3,000 veterinary practices. And this is also supported by more than 150,000 associates globally. So you can see here more of the brands which are hopefully known to you for Mars Food and Nutrition, for Mars Snacking, and Mars Pet Care. An interesting fact, so I said Mars was established 1911, but actually our oldest brand is Altoids, and that has been launched in 1780. So that's definitely the oldest one. Okay, and before I move to a little bit more about the topic, just a little bit about how we are transforming for the future. And there are really three pillars. So it's about portfolio. So as I mentioned, our portfolio is very diverse. It keeps changing and growing. We are growing through acquisitions, and it's crucial that we sustain the trust in our portfolio, etc. The other one is about sustainability, and sustainability is a huge driver for many companies these days, of course. So in terms of sustainability, Mars has a program which is called Sustainable in Generation Plan, and we are investing more over than $1 billion in sustainability causes to really improve a life of people and basically our supply chain as well. And our culture, last but not least, I have already mentioned we are a family-owned company. We have 5 principles, but also Mars is determined to make Mars inclusive company where everyone can thrive. And this has been recognized, associates are very crucial for what we do. And it's been recognized by Glassdoor, Forbes, or Financial Times, for example. So now moving to how we work with ETQ. We have very long history actually with ETQ. We have started with ETQ in 2009, so 16 years ago when we started using the Reliance tool, and since then we have developed 17 modules which are truly global and cross-segment with application. They are across core quality management, food safety risk management, and supplier quality management. We have got integrations with our master data systems, with ERP systems, with our analytics tools, and we have more than 11,000 active users of the Reliance system. And I think what I am very proud of as well, because we have had very good relationship with ETQ over the years, and we spend lots of time together with other customers as well. We are actively shaping the product roadmap with ETQ. So actually it's really, applicable to what we need as a business. Reliance really provide for us the standardized approach and we can communicate effectively within our business. And you can imagine for the global business like us, we are trying to find a tool which is really helping us with standardized communication, breaking silos, and allowing that kind of collaborative nature of what we are all after in quality. So a little bit about digitalization and why is digitalization crucial for transforming quality? So there are, what digitalization brings is efficiency, speed, and breakthrough. So if I go into efficiency, which is on your left-hand side, we talk about digital backbone. Digital backbone is about trusted data, systems to enable user-centric, intelligent automation. And it is really basics. Without digital backbone, you cannot build additional elements of your digital landscape. So from there, we moved into connected ecosystem. And this is really about gaining speed for your transformation. It's accelerating quality processes, insight generations, better human decisions through AI and machine learning, and connected system landscape. And out of that, we can reach into intelligent quality. This is about breakthrough, spot emerging opportunities based on innovative IT capabilities. Now, to be very honest with you, where we spend most of our time in quality, it's the digital backbone and connected ecosystem. We started peeking into intelligent quality, but you really need to have good basics of data, of systems and processes to be able to really build on that and get some good intelligence out of that. So just to say that it is definitely a journey. So a little bit about what is digitalization. Digitalization by definition is working with digitized information in service of business application that brings value. And you can see on this screen that I'm trying to demystify basically what digitalization is. It is not only about system. It is not only about computers. It is about, we start with data and insights, which is on your left-hand side. And, imagine information available and accessible in digital format to enable applications, predictive models. Then we go into people and processes. And in here, we need humans working with digitized information, guided by data science, framework to unlock problem statements, and processes to secure compliance to our agreed standards. And then we move into computers, system, and technology. Digital technology that can process high volumes of digitized assets in service of business applications and operational processes. And when I was preparing for this presentation, I was thinking that I will try to give you a little bit sort of different visual of this slide. And I would like to bring analogy of tree. Imagine tree and, if you imagine the root system to be your data, the trunk is your systems and your tools. The branches are your processes. And then the fruit is basically your insights and your analytics. So as you can imagine, if the tree doesn't have very strong trunk with very good base of the root system, it will be very difficult to get very good and juicy fruits. So we also need to make sure that our data are in a good shape, that they are available, that we have got good systems, and the processes are really, really strong. So then we can actually reap the fruit of our efforts. And before I move out of this slide, I have also this line in there in yellow, which says, we are building smart home for intelligent quality. So what do I mean by that? I think it's really important to think about, what we are trying to achieve and, how do we want to stay smart? If you think about your home and when you want to be you have smart homes, you are thinking about the tools which are talking to each other, which are connected, which are, sustainable, efficient, cost effective, and easy to use. So we should think about the same way about our work systems, about our processes we put in our enterprise quality, and not only quality. So we need basically ecosystem of our process of our tools, which is very well talking to each other. It's connected, and it's not, many systems, lots of complexity, and basically less visibility. So we are trying to build smart home for intelligent enterprise quality, looking at our overall portfolio of systems, which will be very smartly connected and talking to each other. So I will step away a little bit from our digital conversation and go a little bit in our Mars quality commitment. So our vision is, at Mars, our passion for quality delivers better product and better care for better tomorrow. So our quality commitment has 5 pillars. We have got safe, legal, and transparent. And this is really the number one priority. So we are designing and implementing the processes which are delivering safe, legal, and transparent processes and services, products and services for everyone. And we need to sustain trust. Very crucial. Moving on into delighting experience. We are bringing joy and joy to our customers, consumers, and clients. And how do we know the feedback and basically how to act on feedback? It's through listening. So it's very important to set in place the right processes for listening to feedback so we can continuously improve how we do business and how we deliver the experience to our customers. Learning and improving. So Mars is, promoting openness and curiosity and continuous improvement. And this is really how we move ahead and how we improve. The fourth one is about excellence through expertise. And we are leveraging external standards, but also Mars best practice and knowledge to be able to provide the best processes and procedures on which we then build. And last but not least, prevention and collaboration. So this is about proactive identification and addressing of the risk, and be able to do that across the overall supply chain. So basically from farm to fork and through collaboration with all our partners. So now we have our quality commitment. So how can we use our digital capabilities to deliver our quality commitment and bring compliance at scale? So if you think about what Glenn was talking about at the beginning, and what are the problems and what we need to address, we need to address basically what we set in our quality commitment, and systems can help us with that. So for example, the ETQ Reliance platform is helping us because it's a centralized platform enabling visibility, traceability, accountability, and efficiency. It's also encouraging continuous improvement and learning organization, because we allow our users to access that information across Mars, because it's a global system, and learn from each other, share information, and basically be able to grow by helping each other. Streamlining core processes. So because we align on our global standards and procedures and then translate these procedures into the system, it's streamlining the process and how we do business across our global network. Enabling compliance with internal and external standards, that's connected actually. So by providing the tool which enables sort of operationally, perform our processes, it also enables the compliance with the internal and external standards. It's allowing all our units to be audit ready. And I had recent experience when we had a team meeting in the UK, and we went to visit our M&M's store in London and met the quality manager in there. And she was telling us how she uses ETQ Reliance every day for obviously day-to-day quality processes, but also how crucial is this for any auditing, because at her fingertips, she has all the tools, all the information she needs for auditors and to actually prove that we are compliant with our processes. And last but not least, ETQ Reliance is enabling us to be agile and relevant. So the tool is providing the toolbox and framework for how we can do quality across Mars, but we also want to stay Mars. We are special in many ways. We have our own sort of tweak on standards and processes, and because the platform is very agile, it allows us to tweak it for our use and make it really relevant for Mars. So I think that's fantastic. So now we have got system. Excellent. But this is helping us to say, okay, we can deliver on our quality commitment. But this is not all, because if we would like to make sure that we are having compliance at scale, the creation of the system itself is not enough. So I would like to spend a little bit of time on this slide. This is really how we enable the standardized process adoption through enterprise digital capabilities. So I think what's really important is that we need to talk about all 4 steps which needs to be in place. We are talking about discover, design and develop, deploy and sustain. And without all these steps in place, you will not have the compliance and the global basically compliance to your processes and to your systems in place. So there are multiple steps we take when we are developing our standardized process. First of all, we start with our enterprise standards and procedures. And at that point, our corporate quality team, in cooperation with our global segments and our SMEs in segments, work on the particular standards to provide basically the standard or procedure, which is then aligned as a what we need to do across our Mars segments. Then we move into, okay, so we would like to digitalize this procedure, and we would like to make sure we have tool which allows us to perform this task in the system. So procedure says what, but the system is black and white. The system is asking for how. How do you want to do this procedure? So the step which is just behind it, which is called business process translation to digital requirements, is crucial, because this is where you really chunk up the system, the standard into the steps in and really kind of translating individual requirements within the standard into the business requirements, into the digital requirements, which we can then use for creation of the system functionality. So then afterwards, there comes the team, which actually is my team, is creating or is developing those systems. So the system functionality and digital capability, and in fact, any tool, it doesn't have to be system, it could be analytical tool, is then created based on these business requirements. So now we have system, excellent. We need to deploy it and we need to sustain it. So the next step, as it calls, is sustain and deploy. At Mars, we have got, we are very lucky. About 3 years ago, we have established our regional functional expert organization for R&D, and they support across our businesses all our corporate systems for R&D. What they do is they train the users, they support deployment, they also deal with continuous improvement to the system in cooperation with the product owners which own the actual tool. So their role is crucial because they are providing the glue, the connectivity between people on the factory floor and the corporate teams which are developing the systems. Otherwise there will be disconnectivity, and we will not be able to really see exactly what the key users in the factories do need. So thanks to that, we can actually support the users with the deployment. But also there need to be commitment from the segments and from the regions. So at Mars, interestingly, we do not have pot of money to give to our businesses to say, go and deploy this new standard, this new system. The deployment is funded from the segments. So actually the commitment needs to come through the segments, and the importance is already aligned by, we say we develop the system, but then the segments need to adopt, and the site can be compliant by starting using the system, etc. Now, this is really about kind of the tool, but the key consideration to success are not only about the system, but also, I talk about it already, about data quality and availability, about adherence to the standardized processes, and about user training and adoption. Without combination of all of these, we will have difficulty to sustain the global compliance and really to scale the compliance globally. So I think also what needs to be said, it has to be on repeat. It's not one-off. We need to keep checking the data quality. We need to make sure that we are adherent to the standard processes, that we do train and retrain our key users, because obviously people change, and also that we continually improve our systems and make sure our standards are up to date. So this is really continuous improvement process. So now moving into my last slide is about really the summary and what I was saying today. So in conclusion, digitalization is critical for transforming quality. We are building smart home for intelligent quality, and we need to think smart, not only for how we think about our personal life, but also we should be smart at how we think at work. To deliver compliance at scale, the standardized process adoption must be enabled through steps of discover, design, develop, deploy, and sustain. And last but not least, the digital system is not enough. The process adherence, data quality, and availability and user adoption plays a crucial part in here. So thank you very much. Glenn, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Jana. That was wonderful. So ETQ Reliance is a quality management system and is a partner for many, many organizations to help them improve quality, ensure compliance. We work with a tremendous number of customers across all industries. It's fascinating to me that a single software product can adapt itself to the wide variety of requirements that our customers need. Jana touched on it. Everybody can tweak the system to meet their requirements. There's a very limited number of standards, but there's an unlimited number of ways to be compliant to them. And I see that across our customer base on a regular basis. So the tool is flexible. The tool permits each customer to address their requirements, their business processes in their own way. And by scaling, we can ensure that customers and users in all facilities are able to be compliant and doing things in increasing quality across our wide variety of customers and the services and products that they deliver. ETQ was actually founded and built by quality professionals who from day one understood that everybody, even in an identical industry, will do things differently. We're based in Boston. We do have offices in Arizona and in Ireland. We've got over 1 million active users of Reliance and have been around for over 30 years. We've got strong backing from Hexagon, very large global organization as well. And now I'll turn it over to Adrienne, who's going to help us with question and answers.
So before we have our presenters address your questions that have been submitted throughout the program, I want to remind you that we love your feedback. So when you have time, take a few moments to complete our webinar survey, which you'll see on your screen. And let's dive into the questions here. Let's see. All right. We've got some good ones coming in from our attendees. I will throw out the first question. How do you manage data's accuracy and validation in your AI applications? Oh, I think you're on mute, Glenn.
I'm actually not sure who that's addressed to.
Okay, we can move to another question.
Whether that's, well, Jana, you mentioned that you were doing some AI and ML. ETQ's also got it on our product roadmap. So perhaps, Jana, you could start.
Absolutely. And I said that, we absolutely would love to do more. So we are sort of doing some case studies, and we have done some AI. We started doing some AI and machine learning on material risk assessment and, like work around material risk assessment, learning from basically our data. It is really a journey. I mentioned the data quality. I mentioned, the work which to be done there. And I think it really truly is about putting in some work before we can reap some good results. I think what is also important is when you have your machine learning or your AI case study, it's really be very clear on what you are trying to achieve before you dive into it. So it's kind of crucial. What is it really you are trying to achieve? Do you have all the inputs into what you are trying to achieve? And then you can obviously try to put like a POC in place and proof of concept to be able to start seeing the results. But to be fair, in quality, I think we have got a little bit of work to do still to be successful.
Okay, very good. On ETQ's product roadmap is our initial artificial intelligence and machine learning offering, which will be out later this year. And it's going to assist with categorizing and helping users fill out a form. As mentioned, our customers can create their own forms. Some of them capture tremendous amount of data. And what the AI tools will do is offer suggestions to the user. At this point, it's always going to come back to the user, but the tools will be able to read a text field, perhaps a description of a problem or an issue, and it will be able to provide suggestions and a confidence level to the user that based on what we're seeing in past records, here are some suggestions for you. And the user will be able to accept or decline each of the suggestions that the tool offers. And of course, those go back and further the learning. So we are planning to incorporate a feedback loop right from the beginning. We are already working on additional tools that will be provided using artificial intelligence, but there's a lot of responsibility and a lot that has to go into validating this, as Jana mentioned. So it is very much a journey.
Great. Thanks, Jana.
Well, it's about the trust as well in the suggestion of the AI.
Yeah.
So I think that's really good to see the step ETQ is putting in place to have that validation by user to start with, because to blindly just believe what the system is offering you, I think it needs a little bit of time to really trust that, and people have to learn to trust the machine and the system. And I think that's probably, we are all excited, and this is a buzzword. We all want to do AI, but when it starts offering you sort of solution for your work, you want to make sure, because you are still responsible for those, reports and for those kind of data, you need to make sure that it's correct. So I think before we blindly trust and kind of let AI do these decisions on its own, we do have that validation step, and I completely agree with that.
Okay, great. Thank you both. All right, another question, and this looks like it's geared toward Jana, but of course, Glenn, feel free to reply as well. What does your journey suggest is an appropriate time frame to get to a mature system, and what resources are required to get there?
It's a great question. That's a great question. Well, so I tell you that our quality journey across, as I said, with ETQ, we have been for 16 years, and the digitalization is really happening at Mars, sort of on the corporate level for this long. And it's been a journey of, standardizing the processes, introducing the digital solutions. For a long time, we had this sort of, data quality, kind of ignore the quality of data. And it's not that, it wasn't a sexy topic. No one wanted to really address it. We all knew that we need to address it, but it wasn't addressed. And only in recent years, and, it's completely visible that if we want to be predictive, we have to have foresight and be able to sort of have the the AI, we need to really invest into data quality. And this has been happening for the last couple of years when we really look into our product data, our supplier data, and Mars has been growing through acquisitions recently over the last few years. And with acquisitions, you are bringing new data sources. You have to sort of align on that. So this is kind of never-ending story. We need to put in place sort of how to get there. Now, the question was about maturity of the system. I think there is element of, as I said, it will never be done. I'm sorry, because it's continuous improvement. We need to make sure that we are still addressing and incorporating the new requirements coming from external sort of environment, from regulatory environment, and also the change which is happening now. It's every day there is change. There are new regulations, as there was the pool at the beginning. So we have to kind of be able to incorporate those. So I believe that our journey with ETQ is now, we are in kind of quite mature state with our QMS system portfolio, but I will dare to say that we are definitely not done, because we have to continue improving. We need to kind of move that continuous improvement loop around to make sure that we are still relevant.
Great. Thanks so much for those details and sharing that, Jana. All right. Another question. Maybe Glenn, you could take this one. Can EQMS integrate with ERP systems?
Oh, yes, absolutely. In fact, Jana mentioned they are doing it. It is actually one of the very early stages when we're implementing. We want to get to other systems that are the source of truth for, say, your materials. So there are always integrations. The EQMS should offer, and ETQ does, a generic set of tools that can be used to integrate with almost any product. You would choose the data that needed to be exchanged, and whether that was one directional or bi-directional. Our customers do a tremendous amount of this and integrate with a wide variety of tools, including some of their own homegrown tools, because there are still a lot of organizations that have software that is unique to them. So whether it's a standard product or a homegrown tool, we should have the ability to integrate with it.
We'll add to it. Absolutely. This is key element for integration. So we have one of the main integrations we have is for non-conformance management and incident management. So if you think about ERP system where you do your inbound verification and you actually realize that you have got non-conformance, ERP system in general is not very good at sort of investigation and sort of having the sort of workflow approach. ETQ Reliance does that workflow approach, which allows for the investigation of the incidences. So what we do is in the ERP is basically realize that we have got non-conformance. This is then triggering non-conformance in ETQ Reliance, which is assigned to the right people and investigated on the way. The right decision is made, which then is also communicated back to ERP system. So it's a loop which is very much embedded in our ways of working and crucial for how we operate.
Great.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, both of you. All right. This one I'm going to throw out to Jana as well. So you mentioned user training as one of the elements that plays a crucial role in success. So how does Mars effectively deliver user training across such a large organization?
Absolutely. Will be glad to share. I mentioned that a little bit in my presentation already, but training is crucial, and it's crucial to make sure that the training is delivered on a regular basis. So we have got our functional expert organization. So basically imagine that in each region we have got group of like a team of people who is there to support key users in the systems. And this is not only in the ETQ Reliance, but this is across ERP. This is across our specification system, recipe systems, etc. So they support basically R&D, PLM sort of solutions, as well as analytics in the R&D area. And so basically there will be the users. The users are trained when they are new, but also there is continuous offer of the training at least once a year for each capability, for each module, so the users can be retrained, or kind of they can see what are the changes. If there is bigger change, there will be additional training, but also there can be special requests. So to have this organization in the middle who is basically very knowledgeable about the tools itself, and they have bandwidth to be able to train people, is crucial. And we didn't have that. A few years ago. We were training sort of through the quite small team of product owners, and there was. There was a lot of training for a small group of people, and there was a bottleneck. So I think this is much better way to have your expert organization who can train end users or key users.
Great. Thanks so much, Jana. All right. Here's another good question. So what advice would you give to help harmonize requirements across an organization? Sometimes individual sites are resistant to being told that change is needed to ways that are already established. So what would be your advice for that?
Glenn, do you want to start in the system
Sure.
area, or shall I do? Yeah. Okay.
You, please, go ahead, Jana.
Okay, I can start. Absolutely, this is challenging. And I think I don't have much experience outside Mars, but I think at Mars we kind of don't make it very easy for ourselves, because we do believe that that kind of there is relevance in each segment, there is relevance in regions. So I think we would like to listen to people who are experts and who deliver this. They work in those systems every day. So I think it's very important to listen, but also it's important to obviously have that right governance coming from the central team, and make sure that there is all the legal requirements and are met. And then obviously, as I said, we are taking into consideration the external standards. We are taking into consideration the best practice at Mars, and also we are using the knowledge we have and cutting edge science, which also is done within Mars to actually inform the key requirements. And then when obviously the key requirements are put in place, there is consultation process with the representation of each segment to make sure that this is actually covering their requirements. And they could obviously object and suggest changes. But of course, if there will be few maybe outliers, which we need to kind of make sure that it's relevant for most, and it's not, let's say, too burdensome either, because we need to make sure that it's sustainable across. So it is not easy, especially if you have quite a varied portfolio, and the risk of certain procedures and processes is different segment to segment. But I think we have found a sweet spot for most of the standards.
Great. So to us, having a central system with the ability to push things organization wide, while being able to account for those differences, because there are either different regions, different business segments, as Jana mentioned, different requirements across a large organization. You have to be able to account for those. So we can set up, through those business rules that we briefly talked about before, the ability to account for differences between geographies, business units, whatever the requirement is. All of the data, all of the relevant data then gets captured in one place for reporting purposes. We've got it all in one place, but we've accounted for what has to be unique. So keep as much standard as possible, but acknowledge that one size will not fit all, and be able to address those differences.
Okay, great. Thank you both. All right, so I have another question for y'all, and I'll throw this out, and maybe both of you could speak to this one. What do you see as the biggest change coming to quality and compliance in, let's say, the next 2 to 5 years?
from my point of view, we already talked about it, artificial intelligence, machine learning. I loved Jana's bringing intelligence to quality. There's so much we're going to be able to do. Organizations collect a ton of data, but right now we're just barely touching that. So using some of the upcoming tools to analyze that, to see connections that, just a person, even a team would struggle to see in a time frame that no amount of human effort could do is going to be fascinating. So I believe it's artificial intelligence.
Any comments, Jana?
As well. I was thinking the same. I was thinking that artificial intelligence is really going to change the way we do business, and therefore it's going to really change, the kind of what jobs we have, what jobs that need to be performed on factory floor versus what is actually performed now, and so I think the change will be really how we retrain and how we provide the right expertise to the jobs which will be created out of that. The other sort of challenge, I think, is the amount of change, and I mentioned it already, but I think it's historically we were able to plan kind of up to 3 years. We were 3 to 5 years ahead. We were saying, oh, in 3 years time we would like to do this, and pretty much that roadmap was kind of achievable. We were saying, okay, we will still address that. Nowadays, we plan sort of still for 3 years, but if we stay stable for a year and say these are still priorities and we want to achieve that, that's quite great, because I can see the changes are happening throughout the year, even though we at the beginning said that, that there are some commitments. So I think the amount of change and the sort of the being uncomfortable, and because actually we are probably uncomfortable with the amount of change and the coming our way, is something which is quite challenging. So that's what we need to account for. So I think whatever we build needs to be changeable. I think there is something about, have the clear requirements coming for quality and for food safety. Those are given. And then that should be sort of in the system. The system should provide the flexibility and provide efficiency to actually do this quickly and sort of seamlessly. But then we need to be flexible about, bringing in new requirements, be able to act on whatever, is coming. And that's I think it's the biggest challenge.
Okay, great. Thank you both. Have another question that just came in. And I guess maybe, Jana, you might want to speak to this one first, perhaps. Okay, so how have you integrated into your process the requirements and compliance for FSMA 204 recall readiness? So one thing is documentation, and the other is to actually have the process to act on the recall process. So are you able to predict risk with the data collection, and communicate that risk to the stakeholders involved? That was a lot of question in one question, but any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think what I would like to say, we have been, recall reporting, and in fact, like a critical incident and recall reporting is one of the key elements which we do for all our businesses, sort of as a must do. Clearly, as a first thing they need to report. We do it through ETQ Reliance as well, and we have got communication set up from the system, basically notification, which goes to a selected group of stakeholders across Mars to inform about basically this critical incidences and recalls across business. It will give clear description of the recall. It will give some or information of the incident and key information. And so this would be sort of the global communication, but then each segment and region would be acting obviously on the next steps, etc. I think what's also important is that we are capturing the cost of of incident and recalls within the system, and that always helps us with building any business cases on investment and being able to provide return on investment information for our business cases to build systems and invest in further. For the quality, it's always challenging to provide return on investment because it's not something we don't make stuff. We can provide cost avoidance and effectiveness gain, and this is really helping us, the data from recalls and from incidences, to be in one place and be able to pull them with objective evidence. So absolutely crucial element to have this in one place.
Great, thanks for sharing that, Jana. Any last comments to add, either of you? I think we are good on the discussion, and we've had a great questions come in from the audience. So I think that's going to be the time that we take for our webinar today. But please join me once again in thanking Glenn and Jana for their presentation, as well as today's sponsor, ETQ. Now, if you have any additional comments or questions, don't hesitate to click that email us button on the console, and we can share those with our presenters so that they can respond directly to you. And also, if you didn't have a chance to fill it out earlier, you'll be redirected shortly to the post-event survey, and we do always look forward to hearing how we can make our programs work better for you. So please make sure to visit food-safety.com/webinars for the archive of this presentation to share with your colleagues, as well as info about our other upcoming events. So we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us on this webinar today, and we hope you found it to be a valuable presentation. Have a great day.